Hi everyone. Good evening. How are you today? My name is Esther Ijore, and this is another episode of Get Talking with Esther. Listen, it is cold out here. It is cold. My God, it is cold. This beautiful country of ours is cold. And of course, we love it like that. We're used to it. People say you never get used to the cold in Canada, but I think with time you just sort of like get used to it. You get used to the cold. You learn how to manage and cope with the cold. So today I will be hosting a fantastic guest. Her name is Maryam Muritala. She is the founder of Canada Vendors. Of course, when she is with me here, I'm going to do a proper introduction. But before that, I want to know how you all are doing. I know most of the people um, online, perhaps, you guys are just getting back from work. Some might be sleeping. Um, whatever it is you're doing, I'm sending you light, I'm sending you love, I'm sending you good vibes, I'm sending you good energy. And I hope that, wherever you are, you're just keeping the faith. You're keeping the faith. The topic today is one that I am passionate about. You already know anything that has to do with media, count me in. Anything that has to do with media, anything that has to do with advocating for women to be seen, to be well represented in the media, count me in. And tonight, that is exactly what I'm going to be talking about with Miriam: how to build and grow a successful business network in Canada. How do we grow a successful business network here as entrepreneurs, as NGO founders, leaders, thought leaders? What do we do? What are some of the steps that we can take? How do we better collaborate with people? So those are some of the things that we're going to be discussing today, and I'm super excited. I'm really looking forward to the conversation. This week, it's been a lot of media talk out there. I don't know about you, but there's just so much in the media. Not just this week, from the beginning of the year. I was joking with a friend. I said that I feel like a lot of publicists are going to smile to the bank this year. A lot of PR people are going to smile to the bank this year because there's just so much to unpack. There's a lot of debunking. There's a lot of story online. It's so saturated. You're reading one news today and then you wake up to the next. It's almost like you don't even know what to wake up to, like every other day now. Is that bad? So but we choose to be on the right side. I always tell people that as long as you're using media for the right thing, as long as you're not joining the league of those who are using the power of your thumb, the power of your pen to pull down other people, you are my person. You are my person. So I'm excited, like I said, to be here today. If you are on Facebook, let me know if you can see me. If you're on Facebook, let me know if you can see me. Those on Instagram, I see Land Queen. Thank you for joining. That's on Instagram. I see Eileen, Sadistic 44. Thank you all for joining me today as I wait for my guests to join the conversation. And you know what? I'm just out here, reading all of these media things um, that we have out there. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. There's so much going on the internet. There is so much going on out there. There is so much, um, in the world right now. It's sad because you read one bad news to the other to the other. But I tell people, choose, filter, pick the things that you want to see on your timeline. As a matter of fact, I've not even been very active on my Twitter account for a bit now because I want to just make sure that I am keeping myself safe from all the negativity in the media. There's so much negativity out there, and we need to be on the right side of time. We need to be on the right side of season. We need to be on the right side of history as well. We need to make sure that we do right. Like people, I think I read something this morning that sort of like shocked me. It was some news on Twitter. So what I do with Twitter now, I don't know if anyone is on my side as well. I don't tweet as much as I used to, or maybe it's the age, or maybe because I did it so much for years. So now I'm a little bit laid back on Twitter. I'm more of the reader, I'm more of the, and perhaps because of, um, you know, the me now being a core PR girl. So Twitter is that place where you can get all the information. Twitter is that place where you want to know what is happening, you just go on Twitter. You want to know that news in the world, you just go on Twitter, and you'll be surprised at how much information people share on Twitter. Like people share a lot of information on Twitter. I kid you not. So what I do now on Twitter is I just pop in, I read everything, I take what I want, and then I leave it there. Why? There's this energy with Twitter. I tell people it's always better to just leave that energy on Twitter, or else it might mess up your day. You want to sometimes even reply to people that are not even your friends because of what they tweet. So please let us be very, very conscious of the rule of the thumb and our pen. And my guest is here right in time. Miriam is always on time, by the way, so I'm happy that she's here with us today. Before I invite her on stage, oh, let me invite her on stage so you can see her beautiful face while I'm reading her profile. Hi, Miriam. How are you today?
Hello, I am well, thank you.
Amazing. It's
How are you
nice.
doing too?
I am good and I am at peace. I am doing fantastic. Oh, okay. I think I don't know if that's my network. Um, all
All right.
right.
Okay. I don't know what happened. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but you need to turn on your camera.
Yes, that's what I'm
I
trying
think
to
the
figure.
camera is just there. I think you should be somewhere there.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it fine that I have my name as Canada Vendors, or you like me?
Yeah, you want to change it to Maryam Muritala, it's fine as well. Or you
Okay.
want to put Canada vendors in like a bracket so that,
Okay.
yeah, just for branding. Oh, thank you, Beta. Thank you for joining. I see your comment. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, so while I'm waiting for Miriam to join us again, I just want to encourage, us once again. Please let us be very, very human with our engagements this year. Like from January to now, if you are a person you watch the news, you read the news, there's so much to unpack online. And we don't need all of that, honestly. So, and we also don't want to, as much as some of this information is important to us, we also don't want to be part of the negativity online. So that's my point exactly. Like, we need to make sure that we keep things really, really nice. Miriam, once again, thank you.
I'm back.
Yeah, thank you for joining. How was your day?
Oh, my day. Very hectic, but I'm trying to rest now with a cup of tea, hopefully.
Okay.
Uh,
And how has the week been so far? I know the week just started, but how has it been so far?
Yeah, so as you all know, Ontario is going through some terrible weather situation. So
Oh my God. Oh
yeah,
my God.
so we've been I'll call it like a second lockdown over
Mm-hmm,
the family day long weekend. Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Uh,
mm-hmm,
so yeah, it's been I was able to at least spend time with family during the long weekend and also get some work done. Uh,
mm-hmm.
as you all know. I'm a founder, so there are times I get called to handle some situations surrounding different campaigns.
Mhm,
So yeah, but in between, I make sure that I get the deserved rest.
mhm,
I delegate as much as possible.
mhm. And
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you do a good job with that, and well done. So this is Miriam once again. I know a couple of you, like I said, you might just be getting back from work, just sitting with us. There's a lot to learn from her today, and if you are not able to, go on with us for the full length, this would be on my Facebook page. We're streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the same time. So you can watch on all three platforms. Before I dive into the topic for today, let me read Miriam's powerful profile. Maryam Muritala is a foreign trade lawyer and seasoned business development consultant specializing in business technology, copyright, trademark law, and contract management. With a career spanning 5 continents, Miriam has guided entrepreneurs and businesses to success. She is the founder of Canada Vendors and the visionary behind the annual Brand Expo, a key event for business networking and brand visibility. Raised in Lagos, Nigeria, Miriam's entrepreneurial spirit was nurtured by her family, particularly her grandparents and aunts. After being called to the Nigerian bar in 2008, she pivoted from corporate law into business development, blending her legal expertise with entrepreneurial insight. Miriam's notable initiatives, such as the Entrepreneurial Journey YouTube series, showcase a commitment to empowering small businesses, particularly in the digital space. She's also a proud woman of Ruby's. She believes in creating opportunities and fostering connections that drive growth and innovation. Our work, as you know, continues to inspire others, particularly women, to embrace resilience and leadership. Miriam, I must say, your journey is truly inspiring. I mean, I tell you that all the time. Moving from Lagos to Canada, and you are still making things happen out here. I got to ask you, what was the motivation? I mean, before we get into the real topic of the day, what was the motivation for?
For leaving is it for,
No,
for going
the
into the
motivation to start what you do.
oh
What
okay.
was the motivation? What was the drive to say, okay, I identified there is a problem and I want to solve this problem in Canada? What was that motivation for you?
Okay, I think my background, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family.
Mm-hmm,
My paternal and my maternal grandma always say that they brought me into the business world even before I knew how to function as a human being. Like so, I kind of saw how they were able to develop their business without little education, without
mm-hmm,
technology. And I saw that when they were in the market space, this was in Lagos Island back in the 80s, they were
mm-hmm,
able to form a community
mm-hmm,
around their businesses. They had lots of other women in business in the same market district where they share information and resources.
okay,
From there, they were even able to share information about real estate. A lot of my grandmothers and contemporaries, before they died, owned quite a number of real estate properties, which they were able to
mm-hmm,
do with their business. So I saw how information sharing, community building was at the core of
mm-hmm.
their business life and how they were able to use all the resources to empower themselves, which led to
Amazing.
generational wealth. So my journey through living Nigeria, in fact, I didn't come straight to Canada. I've lived in UK and Australia. I usually don't put that in my bio most times. So I see how communities, other immigrant communities, especially the entrepreneurs, thrive with access to information and resources. So when I got to Canada in 2016, there was a gap. I saw the gap and a forecast of how technology will impact businesses. So at this point, I just reflect back that back in the days, my grandmother they didn't have the advantage of technology that we have now. So there's so much we can do with technology in creating opportunities for entrepreneurs. So I don't want a new immigrant coming into Canada feeling lost, um, that they can't maybe get access to information that would sustain them to be able to kind of start all over again, because
Mm-hmm,
that's usually the case for most entrepreneurs that relocate. and
Mm-hmm.
also have a community that because the prediction I knew that back then in 2016 that the Nigerian population, I'll use the Nigerian population as an example, was
Mm-hmm.
going to increase in Canada within 5 years, and it did. And all these entrepreneurs coming, how are they accessing resources? And we have our peculiar businesses, which is tied to our culture. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just a case of my background and just wanting to create a platform that would give access to tools and resources that would make life a bit easy. It's not easy, but at least we all know information is power. So when an entrepreneur is coming into a community which is already
Mm-hmm.
set up to help them succeed, the sky is just a starting point for them. So yeah.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. And I hear you. I like the fact that you were able to identify a problem and you immediately stepped in, to provide us, a solution to that problem. And how has networking, because that's part of the reasons why we're here tonight, how has networking helped your business? You as a business owner, how has networking helped you? Because a lot of people still don't understand the power of networking. How has it helped you?
So networking is a life wire, is among the life wire of running a business in any part of the world. So networking has impacted me greatly, and I always say it, especially in Canada, that sometimes it could feel like as if we're in a close knit environment. Your client or the next person that can help you, you're just an event away from accessing what you need from someone. So
Mm-hmm.
at every point in time, especially if you are, I don't know what country some of our listeners are
Mm-hmm.
based in, but I'll use Canada as an example.
Yeah.
In Canada, situation is very dynamic. We have the offline space and the online space. Sometimes the decision makers that will impact you personally or your business, they are not in the online space.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to meet them offline. You have to connect to them as a person.
Mm-hmm.
You each community that exists in Canada has a network where they access other communities to provide them the tools and resources they need. So, for example, I'm Nigerian. In fact, I don't restrict myself to only attending events in my community.
Yeah.
I live in Brampton, which is quite diverse and multicultural. So I make sure at least there are many countries in the world. I think more than 100 and something. I put down the countries I want to access their entrepreneurial space and meet some of the decision makers. So networking is very important if you want to succeed, either as a professional, because there's professional networking and there's business networking.
It's
You
business.
have to get out of your comfort zone.
Amazing.
And
And thank you very much. And I like the part where you actually spread it out. Networking is not limited to business owners alone. I think a lot of people don't understand that. And it's not even limited to professionals. So if you want to succeed in this age and time, in this digital age, networking is very, very, very important. My next question would be marketing. So what marketing strategies work best for entrepreneurs in Canada? That is one question that I get all the time. What marketing strategy works in Canada? I mean, for me being in the media here as well, I get that question a lot like, okay, so what's the comparison between Canadian media, Nigerian media? So for you, being in this space where, you've supported a lot of people with marketing and campaigns, what are some strategies that has worked for you that you can share with us today?
okay, so I'm still going to put it into two categories: the
Mm-hmm.
online space and the offline space.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the day before COVID, when everything was in person,
Mm-hmm.
when I started kind of vendors, I used to um, go into different spaces talking about my platform.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really, I did not rely only on the online space. So when I go out at maybe exhibitions, conferences, talk about my brand, put up a strategy, that's the offline marketing side of things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm meeting people one on one and connecting with them. So when I go for those events, I create content and I bring it back to social media.
Mm-hmm.
We have the online marketing space. So
Mm-hmm.
by creating those contents, I'm connecting with prospective people that will be interested in what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So social media marketing is by far one of the biggest marketing platforms right now.
Mm-hmm.
which every entrepreneur must know how to use it to their advantage.
Correct.
Very important.
Correct.
You're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok. In fact, we're still talking about this this morning because dynamics are changing. If you're going to be using social media marketing, you must look at the platforms that work best for you.
Yep.
If you're a
Correct.
professional, if it is LinkedIn, if it is Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
if you're into a product that is kind of like casual, if you're going to be using TikTok, if you're going to
Mm-hmm.
be using Facebook, you
Mm-hmm.
must know where your clients are or your audience.
Mm-hmm.
If you're someone that even after you've done all your social media ads, you still need to walk into an office to talk to someone,
Mm-hmm.
you can utilize that strategy as well. So,
Correct.
networking is a very big marketing tool. Even
Mm-hmm.
on social media, you get to network with people by collaborating with pages that have similarities with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Intentional collaboration, because not all pages you're not even supposed to like. You have to look through or sift through whichever brand you're going to be collaborating with. If you have
Correct.
a brand that does something complementary to what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
if there's opportunity for you to do a cross collaboration,
Yep.
then I always say marketing is about storytelling.
Yep.
If you're using social media, if you're even speaking to someone in person, you need to be able to create a story around your brand.
Yeah.
Very important.
Very, very.
Then now, social media is also into different components, but one of the fastest way to get attention on social media is through paid ads. I always say it all the time. Instagram might look free, it is not free. You must be running sponsored ads. In fact, I was still speaking to someone this morning that we got to 22,000 followers last week on Canada Vendors Instagram page. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't by just posting content alone,
Mm-hmm.
it was by investing in paid ads
Mm-hmm.
for the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you running paid ads 365 days a year.
Yep.
What it does is the algorithm recognizes you as a big client of Meta.
Mm-hmm.
So they get to push out your content all the time. There's also influencer marketing. There's also media visibility. In fact, we still talked about you this morning when someone was saying, what's the impact of media? I was telling the person, I said, if I want to make a decision, the person is into tutoring, educational tutoring. I
Mm-hmm.
said, if I want to make a decision of who is going to tutor my child, I'm not going to read about you on Instagram. I'm going on Google to search for you, your qualifications, the articles they've written about you, the awards you've gotten, where you've appeared. That is where I'm doing my research, and that is where I'm going to make my decision. So, marketing, in fact, in 2025, things are changing fast. The world is fast paced. You want to be top of mind. So,
Mm-hmm.
meaning every tool available to you. It's not going to come cheap. And that's why I'm always say that if you want to run a 10-year journey within 5 years, you must
Mm-hmm.
be ready to invest in yourself.
Yep.
If you want to run it and wait for that 10 years, that's
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, you're not the only one in that sector. Every other person too is trying to evolve. If you want
Yep.
to stand out, you must go the extra mile.
Yep.
So, social media marketing, media visibility, the networking space, both online, both offline, at least those three main strategies, very important because every day as a brand owner, you must have the metrics of getting new people to view your brand. You cannot rely on existing clients. You
Yeah.
must at least every month, let me use the month, you must have strategies of attracting new faces to your brand.
Yeah. Correct. I agree with you. And the way 2025 started, I don't know if you've noticed, Instagram is actually changing a lot too right now. It's not business as usual on Instagram again. So they are actually looking at consistency too now, instead of just, people who just, I mean, for big accounts, people who are like celebrities, A-list, public figures who are known to have big numbers. Yes, you can leave your account 2 3 months, don't post, because that's also part of their own marketing too. Maybe they want to leave just one content and they want that content to go viral. However, for you who is just building, you gotta come correct, and stay on your game. So thank you so much for sharing that. Miracle, I see your question. We'll come to your question in a bit. about the HADS account. So, Miriam, I want to ask you about collaboration and competition. Right, it's one area that we really need to talk about. As entrepreneurs, as business owners, how can business owners collaborate instead of competing? How can we, collaborate instead of competing?
Okay. So one thing I would say is competition cannot be taken away.
Mm-hmm.
It is when it becomes unhealthy that it
Mm-hmm.
becomes a problem.
Yeah.
There are times you need to have competitors so that you can watch what you're doing, if you're doing something right or if you're not doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
Yep.
Yep. We have Morning Dew, we have 7 Up. Like these are companies that they are churning out similar products. They are
Correct.
competitors in the space.
Correct.
But guess what? Everybody is doing their business by the side. You never see a Coca-Cola and a Pepsi collaborate,
Mm.
but they are reaching their marketing niche, their marketing targets, and they're doing very well.
And they're
So there
doing.
are some situations. I just want to make that clear that there are some situations you cannot collaborate,
Mm.
especially if you're in the same line of business. The
That's
only time collaboration works is when one business is an accessory or can complement the other business.
oh, that's a
Yes,
powerful one. The only time you can collaborate is when a business is an accessory. Now, that's a powerful one, meaning when you can complement each other.
yes.
Amazing, and that's powerful. Thank you. You want to expatiate more on
Yeah,
that,
because
just for doing
so and that's why I use the Coca-Cola and Pepsi
Pepsi. Yeah,
example.
yeah.
But not like Coca-Cola and Pepsi will not meet their CEOs. They will meet themselves at conferences, and even they could even share business ideas. They
Mm,
could talk. I remembered. I think maybe someone wanted to sell Coca-Cola's trade secret to Pepsi, and Pepsi went behind. A former staff of Coca-Cola wanted to sell Coca-Cola's the recipes, the recipe to Pepsi some
mhm.
years back,
Yeah,
and one of the top directors in Pepsi went behind to c- inform Coca-Cola of what was happening.
what was happening?
Yeah, because the person was not even at the end of the day did not get employed by Pepsi because Pepsi was like, if the person gets aggrieved, they're going to do the same thing to us. Might take our recipe and want to go sell it to another company.
Another company.
So they shut down that thing because Pepsi wasn't interested in getting any Coca-Cola recipe, even though if they had gotten that recipe, it would have helped their brand as well. But
Absolutely.
they are doing well on their own. They don't need like it was a case of we even love Coke being there as a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
these are two brands that they've been dominating the pop market for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's just another example. Someone selling shoes cannot collaborate with another person selling shoes.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It's not going to be possible. But someone selling maybe a shoebox
Mm. Can
collaborate with
collaborate with
someone
someone
selling shoes
manufacturing
or
shoes.
manufacturing shoes.
Yeah, because you provide the box,
Yeah,
you have the shoe. At the end of the
someone.
day, it's a win-win.
Yeah. So someone, this even happened to my sister's business 2 years ago. A clothing brand, she retails handbags. A clothing
Mm-hmm.
brand connected with her to get some of the handbags for a photo shoot, and from there they started doing cost collaborative posts. Our own clients were seeing the clothing brand's clients were seeing the bags. Before you knew it, some clients would come buy the clothes, buy the bag. That's a solid collaboration venture that worked.
That worked.
So you must be very careful.
Mm.
Collaboration is good, especially if your business complements each other. In fact, it's one of the fastest way of growing
Mm.
if you can do it.
You can
Not
collaborate.
all brands will do it for their personal reason. And that's why I always say that you don't have to crucify any brand that doesn't want to collaborate with you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not out of compulsion. At the end of the day,
Yeah,
people are free to actually say no. That's why we're in the world to have the opportunity to either say yes or no. However, if I cannot collaborate with you, someone else should definitely be able to collaborate with you. And like
absolutely.
you said, you don't want to collaborate with a competition, because even while we talk about let's all support ourselves, let's all be there for ourselves, there is still that room to say, listen, I need to take this to a person that would complement what I am doing, if I hear you correctly. So I love those examples I gave. I mean, the Pepsi and Coke, I never thought about it that way. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Because
You never see a Coca-Cola ad on a Pepsi page or a Pepsi ad on a Coca-Cola page.
on the Coca-Cola page, absolutely,
It's not
absolutely.
even the case of Adidas and Nike
Mm,
or
mm,
Puma.
mm, mm.
Even
That's
there's
that's
so many examples.
I agree.
But
That's a powerful one.
one thing and I'll give another example of complementary business,
Hmm.
the aviation sector.
Okay.
Have you noticed that a lot of planes they do collaboration? If you take, so for example, I might be going to say UK. Air Canada can take me from here to Germany. From
Okay.
Germany, maybe British Airways will be the one to lift me
That's
to
true.
London. They are both doing the same business. But guess what? There is a back end agreement between airlines. It doesn't change. It doesn't mean that if I take Air Canada, I take British Airways. Reason is because at times it's not the airline that determines what customers choose. There are times
Mm,
it could be pricing. There are times it could be service. I can remember when I was going to Australia. I think British Airways took me to Qatar. From Qatar, I took Qatar Airways, and I was just wondering that why are these people combining flights? Why can't one airline take me to my destination? So I was, in fact, I was just so curious, and that was when I went to dig into the aviation. And why are all these airlines collaborating on
mm,
flights? But there's a structured agreement in the aviation. There are some exceptions, but those exceptions, when I dig deep, there are some very solid regulations backing the aviation industry on why they can collaborate.
so the aviation industry, you're saying that their kind of collaboration is healthy collaboration, if I
It
hear you
is.
correctly.
It is. It is.
Even despite the fact that they are in the same business,
Yeah.
because they complement each other. So if you're taking a Lufthansa and is stopping in Qatar, for example, and from Qatar is bringing Air Canada is bringing you here, it is a win-win for both of them.
It is a win-win. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's even a chance for those airlines to prove themselves too, because
Hmm.
whatever service you get forms your next opinion on what flight you want to take. And you go on those booking sites, you will clearly see it, the itinerary. One flight is taking you to one destination, another flight will take you from that destination to another destination. It will be boldly advertised. I was very curious. I was just like, what kind of collaboration is this?
And they
But
are winning. They are winning.
absolutely, absolutely, everybody has their target audience. Because guess what? The next time you want to fly, maybe that's airline that gave you fantastic service.
Mm,
You are not even able to afford the flight. You will go and look for the one you can afford.
absolutely. Wow. I love the way you explain this, because I never thought about the airline part, the way you just broke it down. I mean, for us, it's random, it just looks like it's a normal thing. But the way you just weave this together, and I'm like, yeah, that's a partnership actually. That's a collaboration right in our faces. And it's a powerful business collaboration, because at the end of the day, everybody gets the visibility.
Yeah,
Everybody is seen by different audiences. They are being introduced to audiences in wherever countries they're going to. And beyond that, there is you and I who are also on the internet, who get to see some of their adverts sometimes.
absolutely.
And just hearing this now is really powerful. So just to, like, rephrase what you're saying.
Yeah. So
Collaboration is fine when you are complementing
yeah, you have to be complimenting because nobody wants another business to have access to their data
to
or
their
their
data.
client base that they've taken years and resources to
Huge.
build. So, especially for small businesses, the
Yeah.
reason why I use the aviation industry as an example is an exception.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
when we I'm pretty sure some of our audiences here are small business owners.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, this
So
explanation you give tonight, is sitting with me in a different way because I never saw it that way. It looks like business as usual, and it's because of the way they've been able to just make it look seamless. So you don't even see it as collaboration, you just see it as people who are in business together and
yeah,
they're just doing their business. But it's actually collaboration
yeah.
and they're complementing each other.
They are complementing each other because someone traveling, all I
Hmm.
care is to land safely to where I'm going. Though I might look at some of the services being offered to me, but
Mm.
the main aim for those two airlines that are collaborating is to ensure that passengers get to their final destination safely.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much, Miriam. And I got to ask this. I know we have some questions that we wanted to address today. There are so many entrepreneurs with big dreams out there, but some of them, I mean, I've had people come to me who say they struggle either with the right connections, they struggle either with media, they're struggling with visibility. And I know as a business owner, you've had your own challenges at the beginning, and some of those hurdles you had to cross, and face. So how did you navigate it? Someone out there might learn from the way you were able to navigate your home. How were you able to navigate, the challenges of, okay, how do I identify, the right connection? How do I identify the next thing for me to do, to be seen and to be heard?
Okay, so I'm going to break it down into two phases. So as a first-time entrepreneur, in fact, when I launched Canada Vendors, I was still working
Mm-hmm,
9 to 5.
mm-hmm,
So I had a support system by the side.
mm-hmm,
Because I had to be very frank. In the beginning, it's going to be tough.
mm-hmm,
So before you lose your mind, you must have backup.
mm-hmm,
Meaning, if you're before you go into full-time entrepreneurship in the beginning,
mm-hmm,
in order not to go into mental health issues,
mm-hmm,
you must have backup,
mm-hmm,
especially in the diaspora environment.
mm-hmm.
If it was back home where we have our support networks here and there, you might have people supporting and saying, "Oh, you know what, I got you."
Yeah.
But sharing my own personal experience here in Canada, I had a backup by the side, which was my job. And I had that firm notion that I'm
Mm-hmm,
not going to give up on my brand. It's going to be
mm-hmm,
tough. I'd prepared myself. So there's one thing I usually say, face reality.
mm-hmm,
It's going to be tough. The first 5 years of any business journey is when you know whether you're going to go after that first 5 years, whatever happened, either you're growing, or you're going back to re-strategize. And there's no crime in failing and
mm-hmm,
everybody. In fact, if you've never failed, you've never, for you to succeed, you must have failed several times.
mm-hmm,
So, but one thing about me was I had a backup by the side, and I had that firm notion that I wasn't going to give up. Whether it maybe things, or you should just have something, because when the mental health issues set in, you must
mm,
have somewhere to blank off. Like, you have to blank off, you detach yourself. And that's sometimes what I do when I'm in such situations. I usually detach myself.
mm-hmm,
But that firm belief that you mustn't give up. If you
mm-hmm,
believe in what you're doing, and you believe that there's prospect there, people would come. In fact, there were some people that were making fun of me in the early stages when I started Canada Vendors. They made so much fun of me. In fact, family, close friends. And I just, in my mind, I was just like, well, I'm the one in this situation. It's either I proceed or I move back. But
mm-hmm,
I was just, when you have that firm belief, there are times only few people saw what I was speaking about at that time. Because there was a day I made a presentation about Canada Vendors at a community event. And some people walked up to me. I was just like, sis, um, don't give up.
mm,
Um, in fact, there was one of my family friends that I can't really remember the statement she made. She was like, the dream is clearer to the dreamer, something like that. I've forgotten how that statement was.
mm-hmm,
She was like, I've seen something and I should go for it.
mm-hmm,
So This is me pleading with all entrepreneurs or prospective entrepreneurs. It's going to be tough in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The first five, in fact, for the first 4 years of Canada vendors, I wasn't making any money.
Mm-hmm.
I was just building, and I was sowing. I was sowing several seeds back
Mm-hmm.
into my community,
Mm-hmm.
because when the time was now, when the time was, when I was ready to
Like
reap,
to reap.
it came seamlessly.
Mm.
There's this popular saying: "You serve before you earn."
Yeah.
So every business owner is kind of like a servant in one way or the other.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I
Either you're
agree.
serving your client, you're serving your community,
Mm-hmm.
but you will serve before you earn. And
Absolutely.
that's when you go to the mall, sometimes you see some brands giving out free samples. In fact, there's this, is it pretzels in Mississauga? There's a popular pretzels brand. When they opened, whenever you're passing in front of them, they'll just bamboozle you with different samples of the products. In fact, before I get to the next side of the mall, I
Mm-hmm.
have to walk back and get some. I was just like, these people keep sharing free samples. They were serving out of maybe 20 or 50 people that walk in front of them and get free samples. Maybe 30 will go back to make a purchase.
Make a purchase.
It's not as
Mm.
if they are stupid. Even during COVID, there were so many brands, Nigerian entrepreneurs that supported community events
Mm.
back to back, back to back, pro bono. And when it was time for them to reap, the
Yep.
story changed.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Thank you for so much for sharing that. And for those who are like new immigrants, those who even want to, immigrate here, start life here, what are some things they need to be prepared for? Right. What are some of the challenges? I know you've mentioned some, but people need to know, so what challenges do entrepreneurs face in a global market? Because remember, we are new. There's a culture shock, for example. um, you integrating into the system is another thing. There is also the barriers that you'd face, you know, either as a person of color or you just being a business owner who's just trying to find ease or a fit in the community. So I want you to just share what are some of these challenges? Because people often hear success stories and they feel, oh my God, it's all rainbows. No. What are some challenges that you encountered? And what are some challenges that you want to share and how people can navigate them?
In fact, I can remember in 2011 when I relocated out of Nigeria to the UK. After 2 weeks, I was crying in the bus. I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing here? From being insulted at work that my English sounded funny, like literally, it's not easy being an immigrant. I always say it everywhere. It is not easy being an immigrant, leaving your comfort zone to start life all over again. Either
Mm,
as a professional or as an entrepreneur. Most of us came in as professionals before we decided that we'll start a business.
yeah.
Because we would have, like, you would have been in the corporate sector, you face so many hurdles. It is
Mm,
psychologically
tell me
depressing.
about it.
Like,
Mm,
I can't even, if I start talking, we won't finish the story, but I'll just summarize it briefly. Um, it's not easy.
mhm.
If you don't have a support system, it's even going to be worse.
Yeah.
But one thing I found out about Canada is that Canada, maybe through research, there are some organizations already on ground that would help you with
Mm-hmm.
the information you need in the early stages
Mm-hmm.
when you're trying to settle. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I know the Salvation Army, there's Red Cross, there's
Mm-hmm.
COSI,
Yeah.
there's Achieve,
Mm-hmm.
there's Access Employment, there's the
Mm-hmm.
Canadian Immigrant Center.
Mm-hmm.
So, in fact, of all the countries I've lived in, I think Canada has one of the best structure to ease settlement for newcomers. So, for me personally, my sister was here when I came to Canada, but my UK experience was worse because there was nobody. So I had to figure out everything on my own. So it's going to be very tough. But what makes it easy is if you're able to join supportive communities.
Mm-hmm.
very important, depending on what you need. If you're, say, for example, if you're a professional, you go online, you look for professional organizations. I read law. When I came into Canada, we had the Foreign Trained Lawyers Group. Shout
Mm-hmm.
out to Moyo Sadiq. Moyo had every information we needed. The first job I got at the Ministry of Attorney General,
Mm-hmm.
um, there was a template, there was interview sessions, we had the exam support group if you're writing
Mm-hmm.
my exam. Like
Mm-hmm.
it really helped. Even have financial, we had a financial department where we did contributions. If you're trying to saving for your exams, we had our contributions group where we take turns. Yoruba call it Ajo Susu. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the best professional support networks I've ever encountered. And I know other professions also have it. And then I was even building Canada vendors by the side. I was just like, you know what, for entrepreneurs too, they don't have to go through all this struggle. So it's gonna be tough, but the earlier you realize what you need and what you want,
Better.
yes. And then I always say it, for whatever I'm gaining now, I still continue to serve my community.
Yeah.
Nothing comes for free. There are some people that will get into Canada, they want to be up and running, they want to access this, access this. You must crawl before you walk.
Yeah.
You try to walk before you crawl. You
You meet those bumps.
yeah. I've seen so many newcomers trying to jump, and I just smile and laugh.
You need
So
to calm down.
the immigrant journey is not easy, but the
Yeah.
earlier you seek out supportive network, strategic
Mm-hmm.
organization that
Mm-hmm.
caters to what you want, either professionally or as an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur. For the entrepreneurial space, we have the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I live in Brampton. We have so many support networks. There's the Brampton Board of Trade.
Mm-hmm.
There's Brampton Entrepreneurial Center. We
Mm-hmm.
have FedEv Ontario. There's so many organizations like that. So what I do, because I belong to a lot of groups, and that's why I have my mailing list for Canada vendors, where
Mm-hmm.
once I get all those information, I simplify it. So if you're subscribed to our mailing list, maybe there is a grant coming in. We're able to send that out for people to access trainings, events. So I went through a lot as an immigrant in the early days when I left Nigeria. So,
Yep.
but it doesn't mean everybody has to go through the same ordeal.
The same ordeal.
And that's why
Mm.
the earlier you access some of these support groups, organizations. But when you access, don't go there in the for this feeling of take.
Yeah. That's another
Try
thing.
to participate and volunteer.
Mm.
Try to be an addition.
Mm. Add value. Try to add value. Give
Those
something. Sow
yeah.
seeds. They will say when you pour cold water on the floor, you step on a cold floor. I don't know if that's the way they say it in English, but I'm trying to translate it from Yoruba. So I hear you, and I mean, I appreciate the way you broke it down, and that's the reality of a lot of immigrants, honestly. And if you're not just an immigrant, but you're an immigrant who want to go into business, like Miriam said, and I'm going to use the word calm down. Calm down, meaning take it one step at a time. There is no rush. Ask questions. And one thing she said that I really love is don't, people can read energy. Don't go with the aim of taking from people. Don't try and be taking. You got to be able to give. You got to be able to be a support too. Because oftentimes people feel they don't have anything to give. I was telling someone the other day, I said, the thing is, your time is also valuable. So you want someone to do something for you. What are you also trying to give back to them? Because even when people are not asking, sometimes people also need things, but you might think, oh, I have nothing to offer them, but you might have a whole lot to offer them without you knowing. So, Miriam, thank you. But I got to ask you, because everyone, this woman is very busy. And I want to ask her before the last question. You are very busy, your busy schedule. How do you manage, Canada vendors, brand expo, entrepreneur journey? How do you manage everything and you still stay so connected to build relationships while juggling everything? And of course, family. So, how do you manage it all together?
It's not easy. In fact, I always tell people will be like, "Why you?" It's like you run on batteries. I'm like, no, I don't. I have blood running through me as well. But
Mhm.
so, my family is very supportive of what I
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
In fact, they are one of my greatest cheerleaders.
Mhm.
The growth of Canada vendors has been rapid through the support of my family.
Mhm.
So there are times when I need to be away. My husband is very accommodating. He
Mhm.
understands that this is what I have to do.
Mhm.
Um, and I have a very, very fantastic team.
Mhm.
Everybody knows what they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
Everybody delivers what they're supposed to
You're supposed to
when
do.
we have a task to perform.
Mhm.
It's not easy, as once you become a founder, there are times your personal life gets impacted.
Mhm.
For a while, I couldn't even attend family gatherings, and it became an issue because I was trying, when you're in the because Canada vendors will be, I think, is it 9 this year? So as you're scaling, your problem gets bigger as a founder. So there are times I have to be away from home, away from family, um, but because they're so supportive, and I also try to cut back on work as well. Now, when things have regularized a little bit for me, so I get my team members to take over some tasks. I only need to show up when I need to show up.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it won't be easy, especially the first 5 years.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of your personal time as well.
I believe.
So I just ensure that I show up. I can't be everywhere. So there are times there might be events from Monday to Saturday. You won't see me going Monday. Mm-mm. Now, I can only pick two strategic ones that I know. You know what? I need to meet this person. I don't want to burn out. I only have one life to live. So I ensure. In fact, the past 2 years, I've ensured that I prioritize my personal care, my personal space. I rest as much as possible. Take vacations. If the work task, if the project is just going to take too much out of me, I decline.
Mm.
I only take things that aligns with my personal belief and also that will not impact my health.
Mhm.
For example, you won't catch me advertising an alcoholic product.
Mhm.
It will never happen in my lifetime because I don't drink alcohol.
Mhm.
You won't see me advertising something that is not been endorsed by Health Canada.
Mhm.
So, like, I ensure that, in fact, health is wealth, as we always say. So, I have a very fantastic work-life balance.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And I like the part where you say you're very mindful of the kind of brands you support. And I feel people feel like once you are either a brand influencer or you have a platform, you should be able to take on anything. And I tell people that no, that's not the way it works. The world is evolving. People would come on your page, and that might be the only thing they see, and they're out. They don't even want to get to know you. They don't want to ask questions in that moment. They're out of your page. So, for anyone who is listening right now, because you pretty much answered the last question I was going to ask you, but for anyone who is listening, because while we have taken that giant step to say, I know what my purpose is, there are people out there who see, they're still trying to figure out what the purpose is. Some people are still doubting themselves, like, can I do this? Should I do this? What do you have to say to them? They really have the potential, but they're like, should I really go into this? Should I not? Going by your own experience and how you started your business and you're still standing, what would you tell them?
So I always say there's one thing I believe in, that people that don't even have half potential as you do, they are going into some of these projects with a strong mind, and at the end of the day, they are excelling.
Mm-hmm.
Your instinct will not. In fact, it's the best thing that can happen to a human.
Mm-hmm.
If your instinct tells you that this will fail,
Mm-hmm.
go into it.
Mm-hmm.
But you yourself, if you're believing in what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
you only need to believe in yourself before any other person believes in you. You are the only
Absolutely.
one that matters because you'll be the one to run the race yourself.
Absolutely.
No other person matters. No other voice matters. So if your mind is telling you go for it, Why are you doubting yourself? Whenever I do any project, that inner voice, once that inner voice tells me you can do it, that's all I need. Every
Absolutely.
other person is just an accessory or complementary to whatever belief I have. Because at the end of the day, if it fails, I'll deal with it. If it
Mm.
succeeds, there's a popular saying, don't be afraid to try. You have to try
Mm-hmm.
as many times, fall as many times you get up, you keep
Oh,
trying.
yeah, I keep trying and keep trying. Just don't give up.
One day you get there,
Yep.
provided it is you that matters.
Mm.
So once you have that belief about yourself, just
Mm-hmm.
go for it.
Just go for it.
Because at the end of the day, someone that is not as smart as you will do that same thing. In fact, my sister was telling me that, oh, if you're not, I mean, was it a family friend that, oh, if I had not launched Canada Vendors in 2016, that she also had the same idea. But what happened is that I got to
Oh.
Canada first. I launched it first. The name was taken already. And guess what? The ideas I have, in fact, I said, you know what? You can launch the same thing because guess what? The idea I have is different from yours. There's something personal branding. See, Canada vendors, you can't take Maryam Muritala out of it. Both my personal brand and the business brand is one. So even if 20,000 people open the same similar platform,
Mm-hmm.
the work of my hands will stand out because I believe in myself.
Believe in yourself. And that's the word for tonight. Believe in yourself. For anyone who is listening right now, if you've been listening to Miriam, believe in yourself. It is very, very important to believe in yourself. So we have a question from Facebook. I'm just going to take that very quickly. Someone who has just been following from the beginning of this session. I think he asked something. What if your heart account has been disabled? You mentioned sponsored advertisement, and that was when this person dropped this. That what if their had accounts that should be Miracle Ahina? What if their ad accounts have been disabled? So what should they do? So for a business owner who wants to advertise,
Yeah.
and they maybe I think that's what this person is trying to say, and
Okay.
they had
That
a
the like
disabled.
so that's their Instagram or Meta like Facebook account.
Yeah, I should think so. He's asking on
Okay.
Facebook.
It has happened to me twice. Not Canada vendors, but a second business that I was running.
Mm-hmm.
That thing could be very depressing, especially if you've gathered a lot of followers, a lot of people know you from that page. Suddenly you wake up, you can't access your account anymore.
Mm.
So I think for me personally, that was what made me realize that I can't depend on all these platforms.
Mm.
So, in fact, it was one of the moments that inspired us to open a website and
Mm-hmm.
start building a mailing list before we could recover the accounts. Because there are some accots that you can still recover.
Yeah.
Get maybe you get to speak with the customer service
Mm-hmm.
on Meta, or you get it's an IT person that has knowledge about opening locked accounts. Some people
Mm-hmm.
don't get lucky. Some pages are locked permanently. I don't know what. I think Meta uses some kind of AI robotics that just
Yeah, they're clamping down
yes, yeah,
on accounts right now. And I
yes,
think another thing is if you're using different accounts, if you're using okay, one of the things that I've heard is if your Instagram is connected to your Facebook and they flag your Facebook account, Meta would also might take down the Instagram account. That's one that is very, very common. And for people who also sell products, there are people who sell product like clothing products. So
yeah,
if you keep posting clothes without caption, you are posting random things without caption, the AI or the boss would make it's going to look to them like you're spamming. So some of the accounts I think the last 3 months I just took my time to check out people whose accounts have been pulled down to ask questions. And it's often like, okay, I posted something, or you go and comment on an account that has been flagged as well on Facebook. So once you get a restriction, they might likely take down their account. Now, this is for Facebook. I don't know how it works for Instagram, but I know for Instagram, if Meta wants to take down an account on Instagram, they just take it out. Facebook, you can still recover, So, but I think this person is actually asking for a sponsored ad, like the
Okay.
ad account.
Accounts. Oh, so
Yeah, so I don't
you
think
would
it's a
need to.
personal
Oh,
account.
the personal accounts. Okay. So you would need to speak to the Meta representative. I think they have kind of like a customer service chat line
Mm-hmm,
that you can send them a message. So
mm-hmm,
if that means it's your hard account, that's the I think the Meta Business Suite. That's what they call it on Facebook. If you're
mm-hmm,
running ads from Facebook,
mm-hmm.
so you need to speak to a customer service or specialist from that from Meta. But the thing is, I heard they don't respond. So you might have to maybe get a professional. There's so many. I know Niger Branchik advertised a company some
Mm-hmm.
time ago that they help people with such issues.
Mm-hmm.
If your hard account is locked or if your the main page is locked.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if the person can reach out to me, I don't know, I can trace the posts
Okay.
on Niger Branchik's page because the same company has helped us to unlock an account for another client before. I'm not sure if it was the ad account or the main account.
Or the main
Yeah, because they
account.
were trying to get through to Meta Business Suite and it wasn't forthcoming.
Yeah.
So they
Another thing though is having verification.
mm,
When you are verified, I think a lot of people don't understand that too. If you are verified, you would likely be able to get access to their customer service people on the back end. So if you go on the back end, so if for example you run like maybe say two accounts, maybe one personal and a business account, and you have concerns with the business account, so one thing I've read also online is that you can actually message them with your verified account and ask for them to call you back. So, like Miriam said, you might want to. That is not a question that we can answer because you don't know what happened to the accounts in the first place. So you would need to reach out to Meta, yourself. Miriam, thank you very much, and thank you, Miracle, for engaging. This person is just he's just been engaging, literally bringing out all the punchlines and copywriting everything you said.
oh
Thank
my,
you.
I wasn't looking at the comments. Okay. Oh wow, I'm just reading through the comments now.
Yeah, so person has just been dropping, engaging, literally, word for word the things that you're saying. That's to say that people came to learn from you
Oh my
tonight.
god. So I
More
think wow.
and more will be watching on YouTube, obviously, to learn, from your expertise. Miriam, thank you so much. You've shared valuable insight tonight. I have learned that Pepsi and Coca-Cola one is the highlight for me, and and the airline as well, because some things are so normal to us that we don't even realize people are making money, and it's business and it's core business. So thank you for the time tonight. And before we wrap up, let's quickly talk about your event coming up in March, the International Women's Day event. Please quickly tell us about it. How can people get tickets? What is it about? Kindly tell us about it.
Okay. Oh, thank you. So the International Women's Month networking event is something we do every year to celebrate International Women's Month. This year's theme is to accelerate action, and it doesn't mean only on gender equality or it is action in every aspect of our lives as women.
Mhm,
So we're very fortunate to get the Brampton Mayor's Office to give us a space. So we'll be hosting it in the Brampton City Hall.
mhm,
It's free. The event is free. And I was so happy we are able to get that done because I really want a lot of women not to be able to access that event just because in fact, I don't want any financial barrier that always because I can't afford a ticket. I want
tickets.
everybody to come. So we have
So,
amazing lineup of keynote speaker.
mhm,
We have two fantastic panel discussions
mhm,
on entrepreneurship, career development. We have on family.
mhm,
We have on marketing.
mhm,
So what is even so special to this year is I'm bringing women in leadership.
mhm,
So the special envoy to the Republic of Sierra Leone,
mhm,
two female councillors from the city of Brampton will be there.
mhm,
As you all know, a lot of women face a lot of issues, especially where they are in leadership roles or politicians. People can hear from their story and learn and be inspired on how
mhm,
they were able to get to the top of their political career. So, and also a chance for dear women to network as well, meet other people. I always say you're one event away from meeting someone that can change the trajectory of your entire journey. It has
Absolutely.
happened to me personally. We have the exhibition, we have the cultural runway show. We want people to show up in their beautiful.
Oh.
One thing about me is for my events, apart from the Entrepreneur Awards, I always try to celebrate my heritage because I stand out anytime I'm representing my heritage. So it promises to be an impactful and exciting event. So you can get the registration details on our website or by the Instagram link tree to register. Please, registration is compulsory. Yeah.
And that's canadavendors.ca, correct?
Yes.
All right. So if you are in Canada, you have friends and family in Canada, this is a big opportunity for them to connect, to network. And of course, the topic today is building and growing a successful business network in Canada. So why don't you want to be at an event where you can directly network with people in person? Miriam, it's been beautiful having this conversation with you. Thank you for your time. I definitely will write an article on the points that you made because honestly, I never saw it that way. So thank you for bringing that beautiful insight into this conversation tonight. And it's a wrap from me. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I just want to quickly shout out those who joined on Instagram. Thank you, Miriam. I see a couple of people here. Sunji, I cannot see everybody. It's gone. I think I see Musu as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We appreciate you. And for those who joined on Facebook, Miracle, thank you. Thank you for the Casta for joining on YouTube as well. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening. You can watch this on my Facebook page, watch it on my YouTube channel. And don't forget, if you want to participate in Miriam's event, you got to register on canadavendors.ca. Registration is compulsory. Miriam, have a beautiful evening.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for
um,
having me.
once again, I'm still going to take you up on that conversation learn more. To learn more, I believe there are more brands that we probably would see complementing each other that are right in our faces. You don't even see it yet, but they are there. And while you were just before we go, Samsung Ericsson came to mind. Back in the day, we had Samsung Ericsson, the
Yeah.
flip phone
Yes.
was Samsung, and then they brought the Ericsson vibe into it, and they produced some of those flip phones that we used then. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it's a topic that is worthy of an article that women need to read or anyone out there.
Mm.
Have a beautiful evening, Miriam,
Thank
and
you.
I wish you a fantastic event in
Thank
May,
you. Yeah.
in March 22nd, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, March 22nd. All right,
Yes.
Miriam, and
Okay.
thank you, everyone. Miracle, yes, believe in yourself.
Absolutely. That's all you need. Shout out to everybody that tuned in from Nigeria.
Mhm.
Really appreciate it. The time zone is not easy, but you
I
guys
know. I
showed
know.
up.
Someone was asking me
Yeah.
8:30. Oh my God, I'm going to be sleeping. I said, well, it's our own, it's our own winding down time here. But the beauty of it is they can always watch it. It's on the YouTube
Absolutely.
channel.
Yeah.
Facebook takes it out. It's still on the YouTube channel, and those some people can watch it in real time as well. So there is no cause for alarm. Nothing is missing. All right, Miriam.
Okay then.
Good night, everybody. Have a beautiful night. Once again, believe in yourself. Watch this again. Take the lessons and use the lessons to propel yourself, to help yourself. And if you're in Canada as a new immigrant, you need support. There are support groups, like Miriam mentioned, that you can join to help you integrate into the system fully. Have a good night rest, everybody, and bye for now.
Bye everyone.